Hey, no, it's not Tuesday, it's Thursday, but we didn't have a Tuesday. So, this is Trekland Tuesdays live. This is Trekland HQ. Yes, and we are live because we've got a topic today, right? What's worse, the studio poster or the studio bidders? It's Trekland Tuesdays live on Thursday edition with me, Dr. Trek, Larry Novacek, coming at you here from Trekland HQ. Yes, for some sanity, clarity, and a bigger picture, or at least we'll try, in everything Trekland. This is TTL number 428. Can you believe it? And yes, we're on Thursday because Tuesday travel made me delay a couple of days. And you know what? If you're watching this later on YouTube, you don't care. So if you're watching this on Tube and you're not already subscribed, please like and subscribe and do all the things. Ring the bell, do the stuff. And if you're watching this later on, please go ahead and jump in the comments below, would you? Be part of this conversation, even if you're watching it later, because a lot of stuff going on here. And if you're watching us live, you can be in the chat if you're with us live. If you're on the chat live and our veterans are popping in right now, hey, if you're on YouTube, that's the best because you can see all the other chat and you can also take advantage of this being a super chat. And I really, really appreciate it. This is so under-monetized. I have my lovely Patreon folk, and that's about it. So we have super chat capacity. So $1 or $2 or $5, whatever you feel it's worth it, especially on a topic like today. So, hey, TTLers, if you're new to Trekland Tuesdays Live, check out the chat. We've got folks from all over the world this time of day. I do that on purpose so we can have folks from Europe, even occasionally Australia, East Asia. We've had South Americans and Africans on with us. So it's not primetime America. It'd be great if you could be with us. And that's why you later YouTubers, it's good for you to jump in the commentary too, because this is a topic today that's going to be great for the commentary. I really want to get into this to a certain degree because I don't have an MBA and I don't have a master's in promo, but I know what I feel like as a fan and a consumer both. And that's what I'm going to get to today. Meanwhile, yes, great to see everybody here. If you are new to TTL and you're here with us live, sound off in the chat. I mean, you can lurk away if you want to, but if you want to pop up and let us know where you're coming from, how's the weather there, how's the trek there, what your world is like. Of course, we've got a lot of old friends in the chat today are going to be here too. I've got Portales. We have some old ex-lifers from Life Support Live. We have all the TTLers here are regulars. A lot of people are chat rating. Doesn't happen so much on Twitch, does it? Gang, I'm just so glad you're here with me today. On a Thursday, thank you for indulging this because I was traveling on Tuesday. I had a Trex tour yesterday, and now we're back. And yes, because of that delay, and because it happened at the end of last week, maybe this feels like forever to you, but it's my first time to really sound off about it. The topic today, what's worse, the studio poster or the studio bidders? And this is one of those weeks where I'm going to try to knit two topics together. The main one I want to sound off about because I don't really want to sound off about it. Would somebody please explain to me why even a lot of my legit colleagues in Trek YouTube world and across the pod sphere, why did everyone lose their shit about the simple little Starfleet Academy poster with everybody on the ground circled around? What? I'm watching gang, I've been working on some other projects and I don't live 24/7 on the interwebs right now. I can catch up. I can see what's happening. I'll go research anything. But this was coming at me in the metrics, in the blue sky, in the Twitter, in even the Facebook, in the Instagram. Why were so many people incensed, if not just mocking and sarcastic about this? Was it because younger people laying around on a circle, as somebody pointed out, because that was a photo. They used that motif for Friends 30 years ago. A show aimed at younger people, well, 20-somethings at the time. What I don't get it. Or was there a chunk of fandom that was just pissed because they dared to show the cadets in a photo for Starfleet Academy? As if it's a, oh ho, look, I told you this was going to be Starfleet 90210. Well, that's an old, we've talked about this before, and we're all waiting to see. And in the meantime, we got a trailer which had various reactions. I didn't do a trailer second opinion. I didn't go down that path. I just was going to save it all for today. And then also a little bit of note about all of this hoo-ha, what it might be obscuring us from talking about and thinking about. I'm sorry, gang. It was just hoo-ha to me. You have a series called Starfleet Academy. You've had tons of details released from it, increasingly so, and especially since San Diego Comic-Con. You've got trailers. You've got cast members allowed to talk about. There's a new one now about Paul Giamatti. I still want to see how he's supposed to be a hybrid Klingon and Tellarite from somewhere over the 800 years. But hey, I'm waiting. The bottom line is I will wait. I was hearing all kinds of about Section 31, but I waited until I could watch it before I said, oh. So I'm waiting for this. We've had a trailer. I've heard really, really good things about Academy, especially vis-a-vis like Discovery. People have all kinds of opinions about the ship, about docking at the campus, about you've got the kids, but you've got Holly Hunter and Paul Giamatti, and you've got legacies from Bob Picardo on down, playing the EMH Doctor, who's popping up quite proficiently in the trailers and the bits we're seeing. So was all that reaction to the kids in the circle poster, the image, the key, the promo art, was that all just regurgitating why some people don't want an Academy series in the first place? Or was it really about that? Because there were other key art, there were other promotional images. There's a traditional, triangle delta shape of faces with, the traditional, here's Holly Hunter in the middle, Paul Giamatti there, and they work all the kids in, and some of the legacy faces, our new, excuse me, I'm still learning names, but our new Klingon, Jem'Hadar, #1 of the ship, head of the Academy training program. She's prominently in there. It's interesting. So there's a traditional poster that apparently was crickets. So was it really about the show, or was it about that pose for the image? Look, gang, it's a show about cadets. Other characters too, because they're being mentored and they're learning. But it's a show about cadets. It's a show that's trying to bust into that demographic, especially in a world where it's very noisy out there. I know they're good-looking kids. Some of them have alien guys on. They're more or less the spectrum of handsome, good-looking young actor people who are going to be handsome, good-looking young cadets and cadettes. But that's the nature of the beast. The thing is, and I've said this entire concept first came up with Harv Bennett. Maybe who knows? Maybe this is Gene still running the coop, thinking occasionally about an Academy show, or at least hearing people suggest it. But the first definitive was what would have been Star Trek V, Harv Bennett's movie that would have been, our regular cast are getting old. Let's let them introduce a show and we'll reboot the franchise with younger casting, which was resounding no from the fans and even from the studio, which he drew his line in the sand, not unlike Gene saying, get Star Trek off of Fridays at 10 o'clock or I'm out of here on the original series. And the network said, okay, well, bye, Gene. So he had nothing to do but take his ball and go home and try to come up with something else over the next few years. That's kind of what Harv Bennett did. Unlike it was a total cutoff. He'd left, it was movies. He totally left the franchise after that. Gene was still very much involved with a part ownership. And we had to produce that third season and be around at least somewhat, especially in the beginning. But that's where the Academy concept goes. But that's where the same time, that's where the phrase comes, because, you know, Beverly Hills 90210 was such a big thing at the time. It was a cultural phenomenon, but in that smarmy, the worst kind of teen angst soap opera melodrama. And that's really what Star Trek 90210 or Starfleet 90210, when people used that in the 80s and the 90s, that's what they meant. And then when there was a search around for something different as Voyager wound down, the next big thing for the TV franchise in the Berman era, Academy was one of the formats that was being floated. So was Black Ops and Medical Emergencies. I mean, you know, your standard, what's standard TV fare blended over. They had focus grouping on this. And the prequel idea, let's take another time period in it. Let's look at the roots before Starfleet humans with only a couple of aliens sprinkled in, pre-Federation. They can make mistakes. They can learn their mistakes. We can watch them learn the lessons that Kirk and Picard have later on, because the writers were stymied by all of that. And they felt like it would be a great way to go back, and we can have our people be more. Anyway, there was it wasn't just, a prequel. There was a dramatic reason to go there. But a canonista like me thought it was awesome, because now we get to explore a whole new corner of Star Trek. And the people that said, oh, Star Trek goes forward, I thought was ridiculously small-headed, because you can be just as exciting and futuristic in 2151 or 2161 as you can 2 centuries later for us. But that was the time period. One of the other 3 or 4 ideas being floated was an Academy time at that time. Now, it didn't get a lot of attention, because pretty much that focus grouping was done pretty off the cuff. And by the time anything hit the world about what would be after post-Voyager, they just basically announced that it was Enterprise, and it was set 100 years before Kirk, even before the Romulan War. So that really wasn't out there for debate. The idea of, oh, no, not Starfleet Academy, not Starfleet 90210, didn't really bubble up in 2000 and 2001. But it was in the mix. So 1989, 2001, 12, now Star Trek dies, Star Trek comes back, we're back in the need of hashing over formats. So I have said that I thought it's in better hands to be handled not as a melodrama, teenage angst soap opera where they run the show and the adults are relegated to something to the side. Watching this format be developed and announced and rolled out, you don't have Holly Hunter, much less Paul Giamatti, involved if they're going to be sidebar characters. So there's going to be a very adult anchoring to the show. And sure, they're going to let the kids be kids. That's why they're aboard her, to get those eyeballs and get that demographic. But it's not a complete sellout that way. And you've got old farts like Bob Picardo and Dadmiral Vance and Jet Reno, and the capacity for other people of that century to pop in. Now, this isn't about we should have had Legacy next and all of that, and the other pitches that are flying around out there now. This boat sailed 2-3 years ago, so people have been hashing over it all. So if all you want to do is relitigate the choice of Academy, okay, free speech, but why that poster just, oh my God, hit so many people's buttons? I don't get it. It's a show called Starfleet Academy. There's cadets. They're there for a reason. The format was picked for a reason. Are you supposed to hide the fact that that's the point of promoting the show. They're counting on established fan base Star Trek watching the show, and maybe a chunk of them not liking it. They're kind of used to that. But it being in the buzz, it is not unlike second season of Picard coming along, and they utilized young Guyan's other 10 forward bar in LA as a pop-up. They took the set down, whole story behind this, not having to be rebuilt, it's the actual set, and it pops up in LA, it pops up San Diego and New York. I think it was on the cruise even, maybe. But the LA pop-up initially, the press night, there were only 6 or 8 of us from LA. And then about, 30, 40, 50 Sweet young things. We're like, what? Where is everybody and who are they? Those were not Trek media people. They sure weren't. That was the whole point. They were trying to bust Picard through. Oh, look, here's muscly young Guinan. Here's some cool stuff. Some young actors involved. We're going to bust this through. We're going to bring in the whole Instagram, the TikTok gen, and let them influence some new influencees. Did it work? I don't so much think so, but that was the mad plan. So whatever the old fogies think about their Star Trek, of course, that's going to be the hardcore. But if you're going to expand the brand, you don't sell out, but you got to get it to some new eyeballs somehow. Even if you don't stick with most of them, you gotta try. This is not even that. That was a little out of the bubble, but appealing to young people to watch a show about young people, I just don't get it. And again, I didn't slavishly hang on to this 24/7. I saw it go by and it just did not end. It just did not end. So shout out to everybody, all my friends, all my colleagues across the interwebs who are sounding off about this. The trailer comes out. It's fine. It's very much a 20. I mean, there's stylistic choices in the visual effects. I know people are upset. Like, why can't we just have clean ships on clean space? I saw somebody saying, why does every corner of space have to be filled with asteroids? Why does it have to be busy, busy, busy? That's a design choice. Maybe in 2 or 3 years, we'll be seeing different design choices, if we get to see design choices at all. That's true. But most of the show, considering what the format of it is, the trailer was, of course, an extended, long face-to-face holographic confrontation, not just on view screen to view screen, because it's the 32nd century and things have to be cooler. I get that. Better the 32nd century than doing it in the 2350s, 10 years before Kirk and Spock. But boy, the uproar about that posed image, it's been 30 years since Friends. And I know other shows have done, there were a couple other series that have popped in there with younger, what, did Stranger Things do one too? I just remember the hoo-ha of seeing the Friends compared to it. What did you guys think? Did you think am I missing something? Or was that Much Ado About Nothing? Was that Beatrice and Benedict? I don't know. Because the thing that I really wanted to spend more time on and couldn't because I had to do other things and was distracted and I've been madly catching up on is the bidding war. We think the whole Paramount drama is settled. The Ellison Skydance takeover, bid out, purchase of Paramount, which has been in the cards for 2 years. It was hardly hot news, blanket, it was hardly anything earth-shaking. What was earth-shaking about that saga was the fact that it was a saga and went through so many turns and iterations and false starts. And yes, it was almost as bad as waiting for the Star Trek return in the 70s and watching that winding road. It wasn't quite that long, but still a winding road, and things are settled. And now on the other end of things, you may be a big geek and love all the franchises and pay attention to all the media news. As a person removed from all this, I'm watching the whole thing with Warner Brothers Discovery, who's going to bid over there. I'm just being sentimental and emotional. And I know how I felt when I was worried that Sony MGM, they actually keep the brands around, might have bought Paramount in the early days of the Paramount bidding. And I was seeing 2 old, good legacy studios, not just the brands that you can slap on a movie title card or on a Blu-ray box, but I mean functioning, working studios. Now, Sony grew onto the old MGM lot. The 20th Century Fox lot, kind of, anyway. It's been readopted now by ABC in Burbank. Okay, fine. ABC Disney is kind of it. Okay, fine. the old Paramount lot, where we still give tours and can point out the Star Trek history, much less the Paramount history. But the Paramount history and that neighborhood and the Warner Brothers lot just over the hump in Burbank, with the Burbank Disney lot right there and the Universal lot up the hill. And Paramount would say, we're the last actual working studio in Hollywood, because everything else is either in Burbank or it's down at Culver City with Sony. I want to keep all that lot. We don't need consolidation. There's an economic thing to this. That's why we have, supposedly in the States, we have this Sherman Antitrust Act, and we have anti-monopoly safeguards, supposedly, so that, because it's just a business and it's a money consumer thing. Fewer choices mean higher prices, less competition, keeping money choices in check. And also, artistically, it's more artistic voices in the mix. We don't get down to controlling not just the money flow, but also the artistic flow. And these days, you can amend that to say it's not just the artistic flow, but it's who's adding the subtext to your art. Yeah. What's the social and political waves that are underneath these? So we're losing studios, and there's consolidation right and left. I mean, yeah, what do? You have automakers, you have airlines, the consolidation. There's yes, some things shake down and the world changes, and there's either less market or there's more sophisticated technology, and we don't need so many. What was used to be 20 or 25 car brands back in the day, right? Before the great anti-Semite Henry Ford invented mass production, right? Assembly lines. So everything does shake down over time. I get that. But at the pace that it needs to go. And when when Wall Street is involved in something as much as whoever is involved in the industry per se, but there's just a whole Wall Street overlay, and it's all stockbrokers and it's quarterly reports. And this is why we had the strikes in 2023, because the entertainment world people weren't running the studios anymore, and much hay was made out about the mega salaries were paid to all these studio heads, Zaslav at Netflix being the top of that. So yes, I'm sitting here watching and hoping that the legacy Warner Brothers studio and the production machine, aside from the individual TV shows and movies and DVD and merch, licensed merch, all that branding, that still survives, both emotionally, sentimentally, and also economically. And what's the voice subtext coming through? What's the guiding hand behind it? So here we are. They've had this move to separate the lagging bits of Warner Brothers Discoveries and separate it out, because nobody seemingly wanted to buy the whole thing. And you have Netflix bidding on the actual movie components, which drove lots of people crazy. Paramount started this with a bid. They no more has the dust settled on their deal last fall, September? Then they say, okay, now we want to buy Warner Brothers. And people are, what? It was whipsaw. And instantly there's other bidders. And apparently they've just as Sherry Redstone found favor with Ellison almost from the beginning, even though other people were bidding. So now you've got this. Well, here so then last week we finally, not quite the drama we thought. So here's Netflix, which sent all kinds of people into a tizzy at the time too, because here's Netflix buying a legacy studio. Well, at least it wasn't Paramount buying a legacy studio. Now it's turned and flipped. It's not MGM Sony buying Paramount, and you're waiting for them to dismantle everything Paramount, except keep the brand to stick on washers and to keep the brand to stick on boxes and inherit what's left of the legacy catalog. Well, now you've got Paramount trying to gobble up Warner Brothers. What would they do with the brand? Basically, it came down to Netflix wins, not Ellison. Okay, yay, but oh no. So many people were talking about either way as what's the lesser of two evils. And I'm not trying to cast evil aspersions on people. It's like these were both bad choices. But it was a case of what was Warner Brothers going to do with all of their assets. A little bit, not unlike what Sherry Redstone was looking at with the Paramount and the CBS and the legacy assets. But here's Time Warner. Is it still Time? It's Warner Brothers, right? But all the years of all the corporate, it was Time Warner, but then magazines went away and papers. So the Time brand is no big deal. Then it's Time Warner AOL. Well, guess what disintegrated faster than Time Magazine? AOL. They get rid of the AOL branding. They lose money on that when AOL and email goes away, and AOL leads the way as the archival, archaic brand, not what it was 3 minutes later. And then Warner Brothers Discovery and the cable. I mean, it's just been this add-on. But at the core, Warner Brothers catalog, gang, I remember when I was sad when Warner Brothers bought Hanna-Barbera. I thought, you've got my classic Bugs and I can't say Looney Tunes. I have to say Bugs and Daffy and Roadrunner and all of them. And Warner Brothers wound up, well, that was Warner Brothers classic animation. That should be enough for anyone. But no, they go by Hanna-Barbera. Okay, fine. So now you got the Flintstones, you've got Scooby-Doo, you've got the entire Hanna-Barbera catalog on top of that. And then they buy DC. So now they've got DC, the live action and the animateds. Okay, look at this catalog of brands and Warner Brothers classic movies. Warner Brothers has all the Bogarts and Casablanca forward. And now Netflix is going to own Bugs and Daffy and Superman and Batman. And Fred and Wilma and Scooby and Shag. They're going to have all of that. And then we're not even talking about the streaming versus theaters and what's this mean for the theater. Hollywood is apoplectic after all the shockwaves. They're now, maybe it's a little hyperbolic, maybe it's a little over the top, but it's like, oh, the Netflix deal is the end of Hollywood as we know it. What's left of Hollywood that hasn't gone to cheaper taxes to Atlanta? Oh no, I'm sorry, to the UK now. Everybody in Atlanta is moving to the UK. We've been through a revolution the last 2, 3, 4, 5 years. I remember when the hardest thing was worrying how to film something during COVID. That's baby stuff compared to that got us into the strikes. And now this. So I'm sorry if I said, I am not an MBA. I am not going to throw reams and reams of numbers at you because I don't know what to do with that. But the top lines, and listening to smart people talk about this, is it was going to be murky waters anyway. It's sad to see them split the corporation, but the core assets of the production studio and the brands that they own at Warner's, the fact that it was going to go to anybody, setting off alarm bells with Netflix. And now here's Paramount upset that they apparently are going to go the Netflix way. Whatever concerns you had about everything with Netflix, who were wanting access to traditional studios, people are upset about what does that mean for what? Are you going to have it in the theaters 2 weeks before it goes to streaming? And here's Paramount, who originally started all this because they wanted to add the streaming monsters of HBO, speaking of brands, and HBO Max, add all of that streaming numbers, 127 million, to the less than half of that Paramount Plus has right now. They just wanted to kickstart the streaming as the future of TV and some legitimacy. But they announced the deal. Here you go, bang. Oh no, Paramount says we're going to do a hostile bid. Well, what is that? Well, they bypass the board of directors and up the stock price. I know, you're in the weeds, you're glazing over here. But they're going to offer the individual stock owners more money and bypass the board and have the stockholders have a vote. That's crazy. It's been done before. It doesn't always work, but it's a thing. They're trying to tell the individual stockholders that your board is not looking out for you. And now we're back into the money weeds. And I'm sitting here thinking, well, now, the bottom line, why am I talking about this? Why are we even paying attention to this? Why are some of our Trek pundits trying to follow this? We're selfish. The bottom line here is, what does all this mean? We just want our Trek. We just want Trek. Who's going to be running and making? You guys want to take on, the Kurtzman studio here. You want to take a secret. He has bosses. He will say, this is above my pay grade. Also above his pay grade is whether or not his contract is renewed to run the Empire, whether or not he's not, but one of his shows is still picked up, especially interim. like Stranger Things, like Starfleet Academy. If there will be an active TV empire showrunner at all, or just individual shows, who is going to create? And I know there's supposedly 1 or 2 Star Trek franchise people in place. What is this movie? If the movie is a hit, will Sam Weir get to co-run Star Trek, not just in movies, maybe, but also maybe TV? If the Kurtzman contract isn't renewed a year from now, or now less than a year, 9 months, 10 months, we're still living with all these question marks, and all the Star Trek fans are just saying, "Look, can we just have our Trek? Can we just have our Trek? And can we know there's so much Trek that we haven't even seen yet? We haven't seen the last season and a half of Strange New. We haven't seen any of Academy, which is another month away from promoting." So I get into conversations where people are talking about future Star Trek, and they're just trying to talk about season 4 of Strange New or the Academy. And I'm like, oh, to me, that's already old Trek. I mean, we will get it and slog through it. We will wade through it. We will hash it out. We will bash it out. Goods, minuses, everything. Of course we will. But when you say future Trek to me, I'm down the line. And I know this was all about Warner Brothers, but look, gang, part of the bottom, and Tony said this at Trek Movie, part of this is, if Paramount buys Warner Brothers, they have all those other brands to deal with. Will they keep the organizational, will the flow chart still have a really independent Warner Brothers, or will things be merged over? Because part of this gets back to any merger. There's a duplication of jobs suddenly. Both studios needed lawyers. Both students needed accountants. Both studios needed maybe an animation studio. Most studios needed this, that, and the other. Merchandising, licensing, promotion, PR, media relations, on up and down. A lot of jobs will now be duplicated. It happens whenever anybody, any corporation of any industry does that. And that's the shakedown that happens. And it's big decisions. It's a lot of money. And we saw what happened with Sherry and Paramount to make the Ellison Skydance deal happen. That's what happens when those things happen. But the other thing here, we're talking about catalogs. Paramount, Ellison Skydance wind up with Warner Brothers. Does Star Trek lose its unique perch as one of the 3 or 4? To me, it's the only real franchise. Mission Impossible is the 60s series and then a bunch of movies. Okay. I mean, what, Transformers? What do they have? The Taylor, what's his name, is going over to, he's leaving Paramount. They got him down at Sony, right? So they're going to lose his franchise. The only true years-long, decades-long, hours and hours and hours of content franchise to me is Star Trek, but it always doesn't, it's not the top of the hot ones. But what happens when they inherit Superman and Batman and Bugs and Daffy and the Flintstones and Scooby and Shaggy? And I'm thinking very simplistically here. Then Star Trek is just one of a bigger fish. It's a smaller fish in a big pond. Do you think? But then on the other hand, if the deal goes through, if they stick with the Netflix deal, it's not like Netflix doesn't have its eye on a million franchises anyway, that we've already seen what they thought of Prodigy just when they ran the couple of seasons of Prodigy. And I know that's a small example, but even on the kids' animation side, Prodigy was like, I don't know, number 8 on the call sheet. It was in the mix. So what I guess I'm getting down to is, this is a mess either way. And gang, I'm not even talking. I mean, there's the money aspect to this. There's the enjoy the content aspect to this. And then there's the political mess. And the Trump, after all the drama of the Paramount approval process, there's a couple things going on here. Jared Kushner being involved from the Trump family. What? Because, of course, one of the assets at Warner Brothers is CNN. I mean, there's different aspects of this that raise alarm bells both ways, on all the fronts. On money, on choice, on, are you a cinema person and you like to see that, politically, what's imbuing the content that you see, what's the social order behind it. So many levels. It's almost dizzying. It's almost more than people can. There's the smart pundits, the entertainment media and the financial media and the political media are all like, they're all like shacking up and getting married and trying to have kids who can handle a merged viewpoint of all this. But that's okay, because we're all talking here in Trek World about the kids laying on the lawn for the poster. Okay. It's another version of this, I don't say helplessness, but we're all sitting here going, we just want our Trek. And even the activist Trek people were like, well, who do we send? Who do we write letters to? Who do we drown in email? Who do we send bags of nuts to? If you know, you know. It's frustrating because we don't even know what to do about it. We're really kind of just stuck here watching the world go by and watching all this play out. I mean, you can sound off in different ways. There's the politicians in DC are upset originally about the Netflix merger, the whole antitrust, anti-monopoly end of that, and the underlying what's the political thing going. Just the fact that whichever way it goes, on shifting winds, because our president, who's putting his thumb on the scale so much, is changing his mind or his signals every other day, depending on what's going on in the world, which is not great which is chaotic and not good for a long time. But there are a lot of people. I'm sitting here and, prove me wrong. I have my card table set up at the corner of the park. Talk me out of it. It's just sad. Like either way this goes down, there's going to be repercussions. Well, that's true. There always is. But I'm talking about like repercussions, butterfly effects, ripple effects that we've never seen before. Each one of these feels like Skydance taking Paramount seemed fairly normal until it got weird at the end with the politics and CBS News and all that. This out of the gate on so many fronts. Can't we just have status quo? Can't we just go along? Of course, underlying all this is nobody knows how long is linear TV going to be around? What is the future of streaming? Are we going to have movie theaters to actually go into and see movies in? Is that a generational quirk that everybody under 30 just wants to stay home and stream? And it's the old folks die off because they went to theaters and got COVID? No, I'm kidding. Although I'm not. It's just such a inflection point time right now. And our media being caught up with money is a thing we're used to seeing. But now the third level of this 3D chess game is the political end too. Played on a card table of shifting sands, because we don't know what's going to happen to all these entities at stake. So yeah, it's Thursday. We didn't talk about this. People want to talk about the picture more than this, but it's all unfolding right now below us, beneath us. I don't know. What's everybody think? If you've got anybody watching this live or later has some really hot takes about the entertainment end, the financial end, or the political end, all of which affect each other, sound off. Please, please, please. I'm trying to catch up, keep up and catch up. Because all of those realms each have their different media and pundits and experts who are weighing in. Just old school of whether a hostile takeover has any chance of succeeding. And it has to do with who's got the blocks of stock. Finances, you can tell I never cared much. Economics, financials was always boring to me. So here I am. But it's the longer you live, the easier it is to soak it up a little bit. And then when, yes, all we care about is just, let's have some Trek. But ultimately, somebody is spending the money and making used to be the money decisions, but now just as much the content decisions and who's in charge. We'll see. We'll see. But this whipsaw of everybody arguing about the poster when no one is talking much about this other. And maybe I missed points on both of those. Maybe a lot of people were mocking the poster debate, or maybe people had good reasons beyond the surface. And maybe a lot of fandom were paying attention. to who's going to get Warner Brothers, and or if it's Paramount, how does that affect? You can be a Trek fan and be affected by Bugs and Daffy or Scooby and Shaggy, much less Batman and Superman and Supergirl. Yeah. Anyway, what do you guys think? What does everybody think? I can't wait to see the chat today. I can't wait to see the later comments that pop up from this. And meanwhile, happy holidays, everyone. And yes, I'm saying that to include everyone, not exclude anyone. Okay. I'm going to take a breather after that. I hopefully did not drown you in details, although, gang, there are details to be had. Money amounts and time frames and all of that. I'm going to leave it here on the broad strokes and the broad takeaways as I've kind of come to them. But you know what? I may be overlooking a corner of this, maybe overlooking a motivation or an outcome. So please sound off if you want to, live or later. And we'll see. We'll see. Meanwhile, again, thanks everybody for being here. Thanks with your patience while we had the delay this week. Again, people watching later don't care. But I do want to say thank you for all of that. And a big thank you to our couple yesterday. Yay, Scott and Carol were my latest Trekland Treks takers. That was awesome from Indianapolis. So, hey, yay. Everybody, we had 82 degrees yesterday in the middle of December. Now, it was 50 2 weeks ago, but it just happened that we had beautiful weather. So don't stop coming to LA in winter thinking you don't want to be out walking around to our outdoor location sites off over 50 places that you can choose with my help for an excellent day. Treklandtreks.com is where you can read all about it. Of course, next year, I'll be part of the big multi-day tour from Geek Nation Tours, especially for the 60th anniversary. My gosh, I can't believe it's been 10 years since we did one from the 50th after we got the concept going. This year, we've added guests. So far, that's Sirach and Armin, Bobby Clark and Tim, with a couple more to come. It's the week before Trek Vegas, but you don't have to go to the convention. We wind up in Vegas. There's a one-day out to Valley of Fire where Kirk died in Generations and some quirky things out at that amazing park. Don't worry, we don't let you broil in the sun. That's geeknationtours.com, the big, big, big tour. The day tours that I offer, like with Scott and Carol yesterday, that's treklandtreks.com. Or you can come to LarryNemecek.com and find your way there. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Of course, this is the time also what I got to thank. Yay, our TTLers. This is our December batch. I've already had some new ones come along that I need to update for. But once again, really, really thanking you. Chuck A. and James Kerwin, Diana Hopkins, Halbert Gunjanssen, Lawrence Todd, Chris Jiggins, Mitch Keith, Keith Rombach, Josh Patton, Pranakasha Productions, Comedy Forecast. Thank you, guys. Thank you. And, we have 2 levels. Simple 2 levels. So thank you, $5 TTLers, and our $10 a month live wires. Yep. J.R. Poole, Gary Williams, Robert McLean, Byron Bailey, MJ Frug, Chris Garris, Brandon Coles, Dave Gregory, Jesse at Crusher Convo, Donna S. Runyon, and Casey Shafsky. I am so grateful to you guys. I don't make a big deal out of my Patreon. I keep it simple, but it is helping. It does help a lot. We've come a long way just the last few years. And of course, it is simple. $5, $10, patreon.com/Trekland Live. And, if you want to be in my orbit even more than that, just jump in, go check out portal47.net. I may yet have a holiday special here after the cyber post-Thanksgiving specials have died down. Stay tuned because we'll probably have a special again for our Trekland Treks that's good. It's good for the next year. And then we'll probably have another Portals price coming up too. But if it's Thursday, that means, no, not Tuesday, Thursday now. For 2 days, the new Trek Files. But Trek Files is always up overnight, Monday into Tuesday. Season 14. The tech heads, you ship pornistas, You're going to love this. None other than the great Rick Sternbach with us. And hey, it's the tail end of the Voyager anniversary year. Yep. What is it? 30 years? Yes. And Rick is with us talking about development of the Voyager itself and what it was like in those days of R&D, heady chances, heady choices. We've got the documents of the week, thetrekfiles.com, as you can get his sketches and text notes that are up, as well as the podcast, thetrekfiles.com. All the Roddenberries are at podcast.roddenberry.com. And of course, you can get access to our little special Trek Files social group and discussion center is now on the Roddenberry Discord. It's their Patreon you join, and then you can get to the Discord. It's $1 a month, and you get access to all the Roddenberry shows, all the functional community and support groups around that, the focus groups. It's awesome. You can jump over to all the fans that are running shows with or without a podcast. But if you want to join us with the fellow Trekophiles spelled with an F, it's every other Monday at 4 Pacific. Just come on. It's just like this, except we've got cameras. And it's not just like this because the audience is a little smaller. It's different. It's different vibes, different flavors at this Trekland buffet. And I appreciate all of our Trekophiles spelled with an F downloading the pod every week. And also those who are already in the Roddenberry Patreon/Discord, or folks who have come over new just for that. So that's a great show. And we got some good ones coming up. Oh my goodness. Yes, Rick, next week's episode, I'm going to tease it. Somebody who's been in the news with a hot new idea, but he's an old friend of mine. And we go down a path. So listen to this week's Rick is Awesome. Get you some Voyager love, ship nerds, and then stick around for next week's episode too. But that's it. That's it, gang. I'm Larry Nemechek on Blue Sky as well as Twitter X. Hey, it's Larry's Trekland, Instagram, Facebook, and yes, YouTube. Please like and subscribe. Portal47.net for your backstage guide to in-depth Trek, where no savvy fan has gone before, like a mini-con all year long, and nothing like the post-con blues, because we're here all year long, backstaging Star Trek. And I'm backstaging my way out of here. If you're watching us later, again, jump in on the commentary. Maybe you can watch us sometime live on a Tuesday afternoon at 1-ish Pacific, 4-ish Eastern, 9-ish UK time, and 10-ish Central Europe even. But for those live, I'm going to hang back. I'll be right back after a micro break here. But if you are leaving us right now, please, please, please stay healthy. Do all the things. Please stay woke. Check the sources. And yeah, Trek well, everybody. Okay. I was determined not to worry about tons of detail, much less drown you in detail, but details are out there. Tony Trek Movies run some good stories, but almost all of the Hollywood trade media and the mainstream media are doing both news stories and also commentary, opinion, pundits weighing in on all aspects of the sale and what it means for film buffs and consumers and guardians of First Amendment politically in government. The financial pluses and minuses if you have stock either way, or what the ripple effects would be if you don't have stock, but you're just wondering what's going to happen. I just worry either way, I don't know how. Well, if Ellis and Skydance buy out, Star Trek's brand is lost in a bigger sea, but Netflix buying Warner Brothers, I feel bad for the Warner Brothers brands. I don't know. I know Ellis and Skydance want to piggyback their streaming numbers and get it high. They say they pledge to keep both studios open as a functioning brand. I don't know. There's just so many question marks. And then getting it through the approval process. politicians were, senators and congressmen were upset about the antitrust, the monopolistic trend if Netflix bought Warner Brothers. I don't know what, I haven't read anything about what they think about the Paramount hostile takeover offer. It's on 3 or 4 levels, this is which is the lesser of two evils. I almost use evil in the headline, but I thought that was going to get too clickbaity. Anyway, how is everybody? I am back. I'm back scratching. I'm back back scrolling. And just going to see how many of you made it to Thursdays. I didn't do a lot of promo, but I did. Yeah, I did do some. So, Chris, yes, live on a Thursday. How about that? Captain Calvin, I don't think I've seen you for a while. Yes, Cairo, is it Tuesday yet? Yep. Hey, Rashid. Hey, from London. Look at everybody bopping in here a while ago. Christoph, of course, you're here. Hey, Sean. Thank you. O'Brien must suffer. There you go. Hey, my figure. Oh, a lot of our Tuesday folks are here. This is good. Hey, Daryl the Trekkie. It's been a while, hasn't it? Let me go to YouTube. Have a good evening from Germany. Oh, yeah. Okay. Ed, good to see you too. Yes. Oh, that was you. That's you. Okay. Very good. There's Narda from us. So we've got Australia represented. So we're on 3 continents now. Hey, Daryl, how was the Trek store? We had a great time. It was a weekday, and I worry about traffic, but we actually got everywhere we wanted to go. We kind of skipped lunch, but that was their choice. But it dawned on me when we planned this one that it's the middle of December, and the weather's fine, but that doesn't stop the sun. We had sundown now around these parts, SoCal, is about 4:30 in the afternoon locally. So if we get a late start because of my logistics and we don't start till 11, there's 6 hours goes to. I don't want to spend the last half hour pointing to something in the dark. Okay, pictures and flash. That didn't work. So I rearranged my SOP of late and we got going. Anyway, had a great day. Not really, only a couple of little traffic hiccups at the very end of the day, which happens. But they had a great time. And even as there are hiccups, there's a little bit of construction going on at Tillman, but you can go in the back way and, there's a little bumps along the way, but we stay up with that. And they were great. Had a great time. Lots of pictures, obviously. Maybe seeing them. You all know there is a Facebook page that's open to watch, but it's only for people who have done a Trex tour with me or away days or something to post pictures. But anybody can go through and see people on their tours pictures. It's on Facebook. It's Trekland Treks and LA Away Days. Away days are special things like when I offered the Roddenberry Centennial Life Tour a couple of years ago at Rod's request. And we did the special tour packages for the people on the cruise the day before or the day after. So people are posting their pictures there. Check it out. But you can only join the page as a member if you've been on a Trex tour. That way, I love seeing everybody's pictures from whatever, but I wanted to keep that page, the people who are with me, so that the world would see this is what we do. These are the choices. These are the options. So, but thank you for asking, Daryl. Glad to see everybody getting in. Sean, did you see there's rumors of a center seat Doc Center second season? Really? Rumors. Now, not rumors of rumors, because the rumors are confirmed. There are definitely rumors of a second season for the center seat. Could there possibly be more Star Trek to talk about in depth? I don't know, because I've run out of backstage Star Trek to talk about. Yes, I saw the stories of rumors. I think you should be following those stories of rumors. And that's all I'm going to say about it. Hey, Center Ranger Donnie. Well, again, yes, NBC Universal lost its bid. What would that have meant? Universal Studios would have owned Warner Brothers Studios. Again, I don't want to see a legacy physical. I'm talking about physical studio. There's the gate you can still walk through. That's Paramount. That's Warner Brothers. That's Universal. That's MGM Sony. Yeah. That's what I thought. That's what I thought. I just, one after another, I keep seeing people go off. Did they want to relitigate, redebate the fact of even having a show called Starfleet Academy? I don't know. And Marie is or was in the house. Yay. Hey, Philip. Hey, ho. Oh, Chris. You need one of those countdown campaigns like TNG had, or like Scott makes for me with with Open House. It's counting down every day. Yeah. Well, this is what I thought, Ed. Maybe people really just like laying in the grass in the 32nd century. And we can't wrap our 21st, because none of our college-age kids now at academies and universities ever do anything like that. Sturm and Drang, Sturm and Drang. Okay, Donnie. To be honest, the recent SFA poster is the worst, yet I, a fan of all generations of Star Trek, shall give the show itself a fair chance. Well, can someone tell me why? What was so radioactive about the poster? That's all I'm asking. If somebody says, oh, well, here's why. These 9 groups have come out against this, the wearing of striped banded wristwatches, and everybody in that photo was wearing a striped banded wristwatch. I mean, anything, something. Give me a reason aside from they're young and they're laying on the grass, and or Friends did it 30 years ago, and or I don't know, Stranger Things did it 5 or whatever. Give me a youth poster. Well, see, Daryl, what people, I'm sorry, I was there. What people meant by 90210 was overly soap opera melodrama. Whiny, moon-faced teenagers. Of course, they were all in their 20s playing teenagers in high school. Those are the most mature high school kids ever. And that is not what was going to happen with Star Trek. But even so, I like Star Trek trying it now way more than I liked in the 80s, when that's when the highlight of 90210 was on, and people had the model here they were mocking was very much in everybody's consciousness. Oh God. Like I can't make it through watching the show. I never watched. It was Aaron Spelling teenage show. Oh my God. And nobody was in favor. The few who knew that was in consideration at the next time there was a junction point in the franchise. This is what I'm saying. I trust this bunch. I know as crazy to some ears as this sounds, I trust this much to handle an Academy show way more than I did at the time. Sorry, Rick and Brandon. But look, we heard the stories about Enterprise and UPN's little tin pot executives, little dinky network people. Remember the pressure to have a boy band in the mess hall every week? Just think what if that had been Starfleet Academy and the network was pushing them to do that. Demo, get the youth demo. That's how you do it. Meanwhile, all your legit Star Trek fans have totally... You think Star Trek fans are upset. Just imagine if that had happened. And, oh my God, Rick has a problematic history at times. But then he also did a lot that went unheralded. And to hear that how Enterprise could have been decimated, to hear that Enterprise could have been on the ground for a year first before they got in space would have been awesome. But and very mature for a format. But it wasn't to be. Wasn't to be in 2001. Yep. I'm glad everybody's fine. Donnie, you're fine with either Paramount or Netflix winning the Warner. I'm just braced for bad things either way. It'll be bad. To me, it feels like it'll be bad things either way. Slightly different taking different forms, concerns with each one. To me, there seems to be no winning solution out of this box. And I hadn't even thought about the NBC. It's a moot point. NBC Universal is not among the consideration here. It's either going to be Netflix's or Paramount wins with this hostile takeover. How much cash can the Ellisons throw at attorneys to litigate this thing, or up the offer with the stockholders, or litigate it on the back end? And again, what does it mean for Trek? I still am a citizen of this country and the world, and I like to think about impacts beyond just my Trek. But first and foremost, what's it mean for Trek? Hey, Christoph, you were quite surprised by the negative reaction to the Academy trailers or any new Trek, but maybe that's social's algorithm enhancing negativity. Yeah, I call it the negativity magnet. You try to avoid trailers and ignore them when you can't avoid. And ignore them when you can't avoid. Yeah. Thank you, Chris. But then, you're coming out of the gate here and going far in a short amount of time. How do you do that when dripping so much common sense? I don't know, you middle of the country person. Hey, Rashid, you are extremely excited but did that poster art just totally turn you off? I don't. Can somebody, if it's not your own opinion, can somebody at least explain why others are so upset? I've tried to see it. It's like this, just supposed to know. It's like, look at that. They've got kids in the show and they're actually telling you about it. Yeah. Again, the unintended ripple effects that those in the know at the beginning of TNG had no idea that the audience for original series would be swamped in numbers in 4 years and then take off from there. Because how can anything be bigger than the original, the original parent of the thing that begat the spinoff? How could you ever be bigger than the original? Well, purely in numbers, Next Gen exceeded the original series by the time they went to movies, if not sooner. As a fan of all generations of Star Trek, from TOS to S&W, I stand with the Curse the Section 31 movie crowd. I had one person pop up either here or somewhere else, maybe at the open house chat, which was open to everybody. But it really turned out that they were just a huge Michelle Yeoh fan, which is a huge part of the demo of the audience for this movie. And the reason for it still being in the Paramount Plus top 10 streaming eyeballs. Yeah. I've met one person that said, well, I loved Section 31. It turned out they were really a Michelle Yeoh fan who loved her and everything. Right. You're not, Daryl. And you're also a fan of all generations. You're like, yeah, he was okay. You're always going to love something more than another, but you're a Trek fan. You're always going to watch it. And I know they count on that, and people mock that and say, oh, slap Star Trek on anything because they know we're going to watch it or they know we're going to buy it. Well, that's what franchises are. Now, it's all in the relativity of how well is it doing or not. Yeah. Even though Bob Picardo's return as the holodoc is your number one and only aspect of the SFA sneak preview. There you go. Thank you, Rashid. You were surprised to see so many negative comments. Okay. You liked how Bob Picardo let us know that it's the Voyager EMH and not the one from Living Witness. Chris, he said that like 6 months ago. Now, I had an ear 2 years ago when they were first filming. 2 years ago at Vegas. I know it wasn't at Bally's, so it may have been 23. Vegas 23, I was in the green room with him, and they had just announced that he was cast in Academy. So that was out of the bag. And I said, so my biggest question is this the backup that's, did they find it? And he said, no, he told me, no, this is the original. He's had 800 years of actual ongoing program accumulation. Where is his program being carried around? My God, 800 years of experience. Now that wasn't public then, but I knew then. But I realized along the way somewhere when he said it publicly, because the studio, that's not on the radar of them. It's like when they announced Discovery, and then it took months for somebody to go, "Oh, it's in the." No, fans all were saying, "Is it Prime? Is it Kelvin? What's it going to be?" And studio didn't think, it wasn't like they were holding that back as a teaser crumb. Nobody thought that was what anybody would think about. Who's in it? Who's the actors? Who's the stars? Hey, Randy Compton. I know you've been with us before on a Tuesday/Thursday. Did not see this poster nor observe any of that controversy. I'm not particularly interested in this new series, but I will allow discussion. Why, thank you, sir. How do you avoid those kinds of, are you been like in a coal mine and came up or something? Were you in orbit? Were you in the command module while the guys were on the ground? Yes. What are you saying, Christoph? You saw in real life spaceship Captain Colonel Chris Hadfield on Tuesday. Ooh, cool. Very nice. In Europe, huh? Okay. Thank you, Chris. Thank you. Oh, I've seen dislike over a poster. People made fun of the seatbelt Star Trek V teaser, which was just dumb and boring looking and not very clever. But if you knew the movie industry, you were like, uh-oh, why do they not have any scene to put on the post? Like, it's 3 months or 6 months away. Why is there nothing to put on the poster? Oh no, it's in trouble. I mean, if you knew, you knew. Yeah. Brad Farron was painting the Enterprise model stark white. Hey, Narda, you are excited to see a whole new concept for a Star Trek show. It could be very exciting. Just give me new stuff and I'll watch it with brand new Trekkie eyes. What more could anyone ask for, Narda? You're awesome. Oh, Glenn. Why do I think you've been carrying this around in your back pocket for, I don't know, 7 years? Ever since T'Pol talked about the Vulcan science director, and then we got to Lynn. There you go. Well, I know who to ask now. The Vulcan Science Directorate decided that time traveling is unfair. Oh, okay. What are you saying, Donnie? You'll give SFA a fair chance, but I'm so ready for United, marking Scott back. Mike has had this idea for ages. It's really funny. We were talking about it on this 2.5 years ago. We were talking about it, the strike day at Paramount. And it was just, oh, well, it's just one of those, here's my idea. But he was farming it. He was taking it by, and they were interested, but then not. Then the pipeline shriveled up. Star Trek is a space opera as opposed to a melodrama. Yeah. A soap opera, I mean. Wanda, howdy. I'm so excited for Academy. I don't get the attack on the poster. I'm a boomer, and I love seeing these new young actors to introduce them to the Trek world. Absurd. I know. I don't. Now, if the show unrolls, and I have a lot of critical points I want to make about specifics, I will make them. But until then, I just think the show so far has been conceived way better than what would have come in 1989 or even 2001. I just think the pressures and the sophistication of the audience, I think more audience would go, no 90210. But that's what that code word means. It's the same thing as saying Star Trek was wagon train to the stars. It wasn't just little w, little t, lowercase wagon train. It was capital W, capital T, wagon train, the series, which was regular characters in one regular set, their wagons, moving from place to place. And that's what Gene was trying to get across. It wasn't a Twilight Zone anthology. It was adventure on the move, exploring and experiencing, but with a set of regular characters. Only they have blinky lights and not, horseshoes. That's what wagon train to the stars meant. Because look, Gunsmoke and Bonanza, the other big westerns, were set in place. Bonanza's at the Ponderosa, Gunsmoke's in Dodge City, and things came to them. That's why Michael Piller talked about DS9 being a Gunsmoke, being a Dodge City. They were here, and the outside world came to them. When Gene wanted his ship going exploring strange new worlds in the guise of the Western in the 1964 world, that was the biggest plum he could come up with to get that across. Wild Wild West wasn't a thing yet. Or the anthology, The Guns of Will Sonnet, and Alias Smith and Jones, and all of those weren't a thing yet. Look at this way, Star. The Academy is Star Trek, therefore I'm going to watch it regardless. Well, you have to watch it so you know if you like it or not, but at least so you can be in the... How do you not watch it and then watch all the debate, the conversation, the memes now? How do you not watch it and let all that go by and just not be part of it? I mean, I know that's where a lot of people were with Discovery, who either couldn't afford or were clueless about streaming in 2017. A lot of people wanted to watch Discovery, and they were just, I don't know. It was sad. I talked to those people at cons, and they'd be in panel audiences. I guess we'll just never see it. I never will forget that older couple. Not old, but that couple. Hey, Gerhardt. Portales are in the room. To get additional series, we'll need SFA to be successful. This is what I said about Discovery. People want to boycott Discovery as if they just get to spin the wheel again. It's like, no, they will take the wheel away and you won't get to spin the wheel for 10 or 20 years if you don't support this at least. Critique it, but you got to support it, or else the suits will go, okay, well, they don't want a Star Trek now, and they'll just lump it all in with any Star Trek, not like this flavor. Yes. So everyone should support this, even if you'd have preferred United or Legacy. Again, it's 2017 all over again. Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm glad everybody's having their reunions. What? And that the new boss is the son of a friend of your Prez, right? Oh, my Prez. You know, my Prez. Yeah, that's icky. More than icky. Yeah. Oh, there you go. That will be fascinating to watch how that comes about and what form that takes. Hey, 3 extra bread. Or extra bread. New to us on Tuesday/Thursday here, or you're coming in from another handle? Because, yeah, there's no industry, kids. Nothing against them, but, suddenly if we get a Star Trek and everyone has a British accent, we'll see. IATSE, SAG, Writers Guild members. Well, thanks for dropping by. Have we met before? I know you, under this handle, have not been by with us before. Or at least maybe you were lurking. I don't know. But yes, this is a very sober end of all of this. Aside from the politics and aside from the what Trek do we get and who's the boss, there's been this ever since the strikes and the end of the pandemic. The economics are weird as the industry sorts itself out. And the people, the human edge is what's suffering as all this shakes down, as usual. Okay, you're going to weigh in. Good. Netflix is structurally worse for the industry structurally. Okay. That's what I thought. It's more industry structural with Netflix, and Ellison is more like boogeyman. I still don't know how he's going to keep 2 legacy studios operating, but he says it, right? That was the gist of it. They say they don't want to shut down the Warner studio and do away with the brand over the door and have movies branded for Warner Brothers. And can Warner Brothers say, ha, 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 frick you, we're not selling? I mean, that's Zaslav's plan. He wants to split off like the cable assets and then whatever. 20th Century Studios is moving to the Walt Disney Company headquarters in Burbank. Yeah. 20th Century Fox, and they've totally taken the Fox out of the thing. There is a good miniseries. I've seen some memes about the actual Warner Brothers. Jack Warner was the last of Warner Brothers, and he was a mean SOB the last 15, 20 years. But the Warner Brothers originally were 4 brothers. One of them pushed for Against the Wind, thought that sound was good when they were looking for the next big thing, but they were smaller than all the. There's a great miniseries on one of the streaming majors, Netflix or HBO, maybe Prime, and it's the Titan. They have actors portraying. It's kind of guided. There's some scenes, but a lot of it is just MOS where people are acting out the scenes and the narrator's doing it. The narrator's one of them. But it's really good. It's 6 or 7 or 8 parts, but you understand all the famous names and why the names aren't attached. But William Fox was not right wing. He was just a guy. How everything started in New York with the Nickelodeons, and then they came to. There was a whole. Thomas Edison was like a racketeer who tried to enforce his monopoly on motion pictures, and that's why Hollywood is Hollywood, because they all left New York so that Edison and his goons wouldn't see people. They were like, it was like mafia time. They were shutting down these renegade theaters showing Gorilla. Oh, it was great. It's great. It's a multi-part thing, but you learn about the characters, all these names. Louis B. Mayer and Harry Cohn at Columbia and Louis B. Mayer at MGM, Metro Golden Mayer, and how they what was 20th Century was a company, and Fox Films was a company, and the actual 20th Century Fox merger, all that stuff. And Paramount coming out of, I've gone blank, and coming up with a name instead of his own name. It's great. In the middle of all this, I recommend tracking that down. Somebody might find it out here. There's also another one by the same company in the same vein about Wall Street Titans and the names on the banks and it's not as, it's boring finances and money, which is, look at me. I wish it wasn't so boring. Okay, Wanda. Well, I hope you make it okay. Willie, glad you could make it on a Thursday. Poster schmoster. I don't pay a lot of attention to the promotion. They don't define the show. Well, true, but there's nothing wrong with this poster unless somebody can tell me what the big deal's about. I don't get it. Hey, Cairo, the problem is that the only choices. Yes, thank you. The only choices are Netflix and Skydance Paramount. And Netflix wouldn't just have almost half the streaming market with WB. They also don't want the lot. And yes, this is it. So Netflix doesn't want the lot. They just want the streaming numbers. They want to increase their streaming share too. They don't want all the physical stuff. Although I thought they did. Skydance apparently wants to keep the lot intact, and there would be better streaming competition. So I think Washington is more up in arms about Netflix, but there's murkier, darker. Do you really want Ellison to control CNN? And, with Barry Weiss at CBS, it's already lurching that. Do you really need to, But thank you, man. Hey, Extra. My partner's agent was finally saying this year is going to look better, and the next day we got the Netflix announcement. Well, that's kind of the for everybody across the country and around the world, that's kind of the basic sentiment in town, right? That the Netflix is just This is what I'm saying, Cairo. They would have the Paramount lot and the WB lot. And how long would they do that? Exactly. How long is it feasible to have 2 working lots when Hollywood production's drying up? Oh, we'll reverse that trend. I'm sure. Yes. So many people. For a while, every time I'd talk to somebody in the actual working, whatever they did, editor, visual effects, stage man, assistant directors, whatever, they were like, Somebody wants me to come to Scotland. Somebody wants me to come to London. Somebody wants me to, it's like all the work is moving, which is crazy because like we sucked away after World War II, we sucked up the British film industry. Almost nothing. The Pinewood is there, but if what was outside of Pinewood and the James Bonds? I mean, after that, it was like, what is made in England? And now it's like, it's come full circle. There you go. They only want the actual library, more stuff to run on Netflix, and they don't care about the brand, and they don't care about the legacy. I guess what you're saying is, politics be damned, we should all hope that the hostile takeover happens. I still don't know. Part of this is just, it's inevitable that some of the classic, as painful it was to think about the Paramount lot being raised and just more crap modern buildings going up there to maximize the dollar value out of that $1 million real estate. It's sad to think about the Warner's lot doing the same thing. I'm not nearly as familiar with the Warner's lot or been over there near as much. Going to visit Dave Trotty at Chuck probably doubled the amount of times I've been on the Warner's lot, from 2 to 4 or 3 to 6. Netflix only wants the library and not the brand or the lot or any of the legacy. Yeah. I saw this. AOL turned off their modem service. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Don't forget the Jetsons. They might. I think the Thin Man is Warner Brothers. It's either Warner's or yeah, it's probably Warner's. Thank you, Narda. Thank you. But I also cringe when they try to remake them, because no other generation. It's like watching the remade Jetsons, and they were TV cartoons to begin with, and it was just like, why does it look just cheaper? Hey, extra. Netflix market cap $400 billion. No cinema focus. Paramount market cap $15 billion. Sees theatrical as a pillar. What you're telling me is to quit worrying about the political darkness and just go with the overall heart of the thing. Not looking good. I might have to drop off. I'm triggered. Did we talk about Academy already? Yes, I talked about the kerfluffle about the poster, and you're welcome to weigh in if I haven't missed you already. Plushy McCoy looks sad. Oh, I think it's just the angle. It's same old Plushy. See? It's same old Plushy there. Same old him with his SETI eel earworm. One of them. I wound up with 2. What are you saying, Christoph? My first explanation about Skydance wanting to keep the lot was cut a tad short by YouTube. 200 characters per comment. Oh. I saw the whole thing. Daryl, we should do something different. No studio has a single right to use characters. Well, you might be about 150 years too late on that one, Daryl. At least in the U.S. Now they've lengthened the copyright. That was Disney doing that. The copyright on Mickey Mouse would have run out in the 50s or 60s, whatever it was, and they got the law changed to where you have it longer and longer and longer before it goes public domain. Now, what'd you say here? No studio has a single right to use characters as much as the creators are paid and going to their forebears. Yeah. All we want is new. All I want is my Star Trek. It's be a long one. Star Trek, please. More, sir. Are you switching to Twitch? Okay. You can hold up the Twitch arena this week. It's crazy how much Trek is in the cabinet. You talking about my shelf back here with the and ready to go. Yeah. Yeah. It's time people love Disco, Picard, Lord X, Prodigy, and Strange New as old Trek. Only Academy is new Trek. That's okay to hate for now. Well, Christoph, part of that is just it takes a while to soak up. You have to go through at least a few rewatches. We used to say rerun cycles, but you have to go through a few rewatches before you can really emotionally soak it up, right? And remove yourself from the immediacy of the week to week without losing that, but you just have to get past that. What are you saying, Cairo? The real problem behind all this is that big studio Hollywood production is in a crisis and leaking money, so MGM, Warner Brothers, Paramount all get sold. Yeah, MGM was the canary in the coal mine 20, 30 years ago. Sad. And the MGM, I remember that, the MGM closets, they're like, it's Judy Garland's ruby slippers from. They had the huge auction. Debbie Reynolds picked all the MGM stuff, and now her collection's been sold. Sad. She never got to make her Vegas museum. Trekland Thursday. This is so confusing. Well, you think that's something? I have a Trekland Tuesdays Monday sign also for when that happens. It was when I realized I couldn't do a Tuesday show. It was too fast. It was actually Monday night. It was too late to do a Monday show. Coming over, Captain Calvin. We should do something different. No studio as a singer. As much as the creators are paid. Now you're going to cut off here. On the character, now what you're not seeing here, people, he says, on the character creation side, as well as the movie making side, you come up with characters, say Captain Calvin Cat, and you register them as yours. And every studio, as long as they pay me in later. So you're saying it's creator based, not studio based. Well, we go back to the studio system where the actors were part of the studio. It's only been the last 50, 60 years where the actors were their own contractor anyway. Yeah. Star Trek may be a smaller thing within a combined Warner Brothers Paramount, but if it's on a bigger streamer, it should get more viewers. And your Twitch experiment didn't last long. Well, Cairo, that's kind of true, but yeah. But then again, Netflix is no better because I think Netflix has a million things that ignores them. They're not thinking in terms of franchises. It's like their DNA, brain cell DNA, just is not going to work there. But even then, on a bigger streamer, Star Trek needs to be marketed to be a real success. And this is what I'm saying. I think Paramount, I think Ellison's and Skydance would promote things. I don't think they're going to undervalue things. Netflix has got so much, even in their niches, they've got so much niche title content catalog material hourage that it's just come to Netflix and we'll give you little prompts. There's almost never, well, that's the whole thing with the theatrical movies versus the streaming. It permeates all that division, that difference. Remember we used to say that UPN never advertised Voyager or Enterprise off of UPN? Well, take that times 1,000. It's almost as if it would have been a bad idea of a news station being connected to something like Paramount. Yeah. Why can't the news stations or newspapers be independent? Well, the newspapers were, but they were very regional. And then you had the New York Times being the first kind of paper of record with a national focus and had staffing nationally. And now we're into media, and it's just the way it developed here in the States. You had network radio. It was a function of the tech, and it was a big thing to link stations so you could be live coast to coast, and then radio begat TV, and it was the same thing. You had networks, you were the same only on TV. It's kind of like you had cameras, so when you went from silence to sound, it was the same thing, only with sound, except it was like everything was a little stage play with a camera, filming the stage with a boom mic. Because if you moved around too much, you'd walk away from the mic. And they were hiding mics in the flowers and behind chairs so they could pick up people's audio before they came up with the idea of the boom above that hung way down. The scale in the US is also huge. I know the UK had the whole TV license fee thing for the BBC, and that's how they funded the BBC. You only got, if you were going to get TV programs, that's how you paid for it. The average taxpayer did. But now everybody has TV. Everybody has TV on their phones, much less sitting in their living room. Yes, Nuts was Jericho. Yes. Sunflower Seeds was for X-Files? Oh, sorry. Hello. Sunflower Seeds for, I don't remember I remember the nuts. I remember them unloading truckloads full of nuts at the studio doors. The Paramount deal is better than the Netflix deal is better than Paramount. How do you mean, Jim? Do you mean financially for the everyday stockholder? Or do you mean it's better for the entertainment industry? Or it's better for the cultural health of the country? Or it's better for the political health of the country? Tell me in what way. I'm not debating. I just went through 9 or 10 different levels, and it's a very complex thing, and they each have their pluses and minuses. And I'm just curious what you're saying there. What parts you're comparing, or overall, if that's the pluses and minuses, and this is where you come to. Now what now? You have something else you stumbled upon. Your Krankenkassen don't want to pay the ambulances anymore completely. And one city said, okay, if one needs an ambulance, you need to pay for it. Where are you coming from, Captain Calvin? Germany? Krankenhausen. What is Krankenkassen? Is it crank as in cranky? Is that Germanically rooted? Yes. Well, you let a few people die. It was the opposite here. In America, the funeral homes used to run the ambulance, still do in some places. But the little town that I covered in our weekly paper next door to Norman, they went through a whole thing where the 2 funeral homes ran the ambulances, but they were like glorified station wagons back then, and you couldn't sit up. They just they'd put the gurney would fold down flat, and they'd put it in, and then you'd get out and they needed people to be able to be with them. Technology evolved where you could have med techs, much less nurses or doctors, ride with the patient en route to the hospital or the clinic, and you had to be able to sit up, and you had to have your machines and gear there, and the whole world. But that's expensive, and so the smartest way to do it was to pool it. I know this is socialistic, but that was the late 20th century addition to the socialism pie that we do have in America. Socialism only means, is it smarter to have a group pay for it, or is it smarter to have individuals pay for it and administer it? That's all socialism is, gang. What's it make? Is it smarter for the group or smarter for the individual to pay for it and the logistics involved? When you've got little tiny towns and people living in the country, density is not there, and a lot of things don't make any sense. When density comes, a lot of things do make more sense, and they're cost effective. Okay, end of the political science moment here. What are you saying, Johnny? Speaking of CBS, Larry, Tony Ducapil to become the new... I saw that, yes. Absolutely. But it's one of those things that, does anybody even need the evening news anymore? How is it relevant? And a lot of people still, that's their whole news diet. It's just watching 30 minutes of network news every week. Cairo, you can't see why anyone would think that the WB Netflix deal would be preferable to the Skydance deal unless they want Netflix to monopolize the streaming market and Paramount Plus and Star Trek to become irrelevant. Okay, there you go. Hey, Chuck A, good to see you there. And Wonder Woman. Yes, Wonder Woman 2 of the DC brands that Warner Brothers controls, obviously. Thank you, Christoph, for completing the cutoff lines there. Narda, thank you very much. See, last year after the move, I never got the tree out, but there you go. The tree is out, the same as it used to be in Trekland HQ version 1. Jim, the argument about the Academy poster is unproductive. We need positivity. Yeah, I'm not even talking about being a Pollyanna. I just thought it was stupid. What, you've got a show called Academy with young people playing cadets. Why not have them in a poster? If you're opposed to the posing, that's a classic pose. I was just amazed. It's just part of the time, and a lot of folks that I know and are great people, I just felt like people wanted to kvetch about the idea that it existed at all. That it existed at all. Oh, hey, Mona. Talking about Indianapolis, right? Our folks were, yeah, they had a couple of warm days. I couldn't believe it got up to 82 yesterday. And I had a long sleeve shirt on. Didn't need my jacket. Good to see you, though. And hey, Carl, TARDIS Captain, good to see you, too. That's awesome, a con with day tours. Well, it's us doing it. We're not affiliated. We've been affiliated with Creation for Vegas, in like they've run some ads and put us in their newsletters to promote. And we've done panels. I've done location panel in my suite of panels, but there's not a real coupling up like that. But otherwise, yes, if you come a day early, you could go out and do that. Much less if you came 6 days early, you could do the full tour starting in LA. It has indeed been a long road. What do I say about the new Voyager game? I haven't played it. I probably won't ever play it, but I want everything to be well done and quality. Are you saying there's an issue with it? Or you have an opinion? I mean, I'd like to hear your opinion, and other people, I'm sure, will have one too. Gaming is not my video computer gaming, non-board gaming is not my thing. Yes, I knew this was coming. Across the Unknown. Chris, how did you miss it? We actually had a few people on. Thank you, though. Thank you, though. Only $1 a month, and you have all the Roddenberry podcast, message boards, and live shows. And most of them are weekly. I'm the only one that has it every other week. Hey, Positive Fandom 9086. That's because 90210. Hi, do we know you? Is this your first time through? It's good to see you. And I'm glad the Star Trek conversation's been almost 60 years now. Nothing's going to go away. It's going to be there. Absolutely. Okay. There's an early vote for Star Trek Across the what? Not Across the Universe. Star Trek Voyager something. Across the Eighth Dimension? No. Across the Unknown. Thank you. Okay. There we go. Anyway, thank you for dropping by, Positive. And do it again. Do it again sometime. And if I've missed you before and you've been here already, then yay for coming back. Let's see. Okay. Thumbs up from Cairo for Across the Unknown. What? Blood wine in the Trekwell cup. Oh, here? No, it's just Diet Dr. Pepper. I wouldn't waste good blood wine. There you go. Determined backwind film transport needle. Okay. Okay, you guys are going to go into the details on games. I'm going to be no help there. At the podiatrist today, one of the nurses looked like Ro Laren. Michelle Forbes in 1992 or whatever. Shorter hair with small red bandana. She even looked like Michelle Forbes. I Googled and showed her Roll Aaron's photo. Oh, with the headband. First person shooter versus resource management. There you go. It's Oregon Trail. Yes, Philip. We have powers and technologies beyond the known realm. I will call you Calvin. It's clear that Larry wouldn't know about center seat rumors. I mean, I'm sure Brian Volk-Weiss would not interview Larry for it, right? I know. See, I think Cairo, that those 4 or 5 times I went in for the center seat, the original season series, I think there's absolutely nothing more to say after all those. I mean, it was literally like, I don't know, 12 or 16, 15, 16 hours once I edited it all up. I should have. So yes, I have absolutely nothing else to say the same as the original center seat series. Paramount WB could bring us Gibbs talking to Superman. That's where you're okay. Cal, that's where your mind went, huh? Hey, Brandon, good to see you, man. Yes, one of my earlier Portelles, everybody. Thank you, Philip. The hoopla over the poster is baffling. And again, people paying attention to that and not about this other. Yeah. Okay. WB Paramount would be interesting just for Babylon 5 finally having the same rights holder as Trek, and nobody should care who copied from who or not. That's true. But did you notice how that rose right to the top of all the talking points? That was right on everybody's radar screen. Oh, poor Babylon 5. Yes. Yeah. The only Aaron spelling show you watched was Charms. That was a spelling show, right? Yes, absolutely, yes. Thank God they didn't do the band in the mess hall. Yeah. Hey, Bob Duncan, had to go start dinner because whoever designed humans required us to eat daily, which was a mistake. I know. Somehow my tour couple and me yesterday got through the heart of the day without eating. It's kind of wild. And now someone's going to scold me about it on here. I'm fine. I think I have some calories to burn. Don't worry. A boy band in the mess hall. Yeah, it's now in the interview features for the Enterprise Blu-rays. And yeah, Trek fans would be upset. Kittredge, you've never seen me very upset. Shut up. 2 years of no Trek starting after Academy. If they win the bid, that's another 2 years. See, this is what I thought, that the one thing lesson of the last few years is it's stupid to let your franchises lay. Like letting Star Trek lay fallow like CBS did because it was Moonves running it for all those years was stupid. It was a loss leader. You lost revenue. But yeah, I can see that happening now just from so much to keep up with or keep track of. What? Sell It's Gone Wild. Sell It's Gone Wild. Okay, Donnie. Thank you. Thank you, sir. What now? SFA could take us all the way to a whole new Star Trek adventure. Well, it could. We'll see what happens. We will see what happens. Okay. The poster bothered me. It copied other shows instead of a new idea. Like, well, okay, Chuck, but aren't poster styles like, what is it? There's only 7 plots in the world or 5 plots in the world. Isn't that kind of like, I don't know. It looked youthful and playful, and that's what they were trying to get across. They were trying to eye catch a younger demo with the poster the same as the show. I just I don't know. But hey, you do you. Obviously, some people thought that way, and I don't think they were cared. It's not like they were making money from having that reaction. I don't. Okay, Dwight, we officially got you logged in. Looking forward to Academy. Didn't care. The poster was fine. Now, see, I was trying to put a distinction between the son and the father. Very scary. Son, not so much. Actually went to film school at USC and gave up trying to be an actor and just stuck with directing and then producing. Hope Academy is really good. Yes. Yeah. Of course. I mean, we all want everything to be good. How can the spinoff be better than the original? Jag had 10 seasons, which I didn't realize. And NCIS is still going, 24 years. Yeah, a quarter century of NCIS. Yeah, how could the there's lots of things where the sequel is better than the original. If Yo is a way for new fans to get on board, also cool. Yes. But was Section 31 as a vehicle for her enough for Yo fans to watch Section 31 and go, oh, I have to check out that universe. I have to go check out all the famous Star Trek universe. Or do they just move on to the next Michelle Yeoh thing? I don't know if it was compelling enough to have. Maybe, or maybe I'm too broad brushing and people are all different and everything. You like Michelle Yeoh, but like you said, you thought Section 31 was okay, nothing to write home about, and then killing the Delton was unnecessary. Yeah. Oh no, almost missed it. Pedro, there we go. Boop, boop, boop. The poster is a thing. Well, elaborate. Tell me why it just made everybody just stop what they were doing and scream and fall down on the ground in pain. I just was like, what's the deal? Okay. The Star Trek 5 seatbelt poster you thought was a nice touch, made you laugh. Okay. I just saw it and thought, oh my God, where's the real Caesar? Oh my God, something's gone wrong. And they're not talking about it because they put this other thing in here. Star Trek 5 seatbelt poster. Never heard about this one. Oh yeah. Let me just see if I can do this. I didn't have it keyed up here. Didn't have it queued up. Let me see. It was the teaser, right? Not the main movie poster that was there as you bought tickets and went to see it. I'm talking about the teaser that was in the back of the theaters 6 months ago, 6 months earlier. There it is. And then Lower Decks is season 5. Every season of Lower Decks, they parodied the equivalent number movie of the original series. And of course, they took that one for the 5. There you go. See? And while we're at it, oh, come on. Go back. Why does that happen? Oh, forget it. Yeah. Very, very iconic. But people were like, why do they not have any photography to show? Is there a problem? The teaser footage for Academy they released isn't doing much for you. Comedy Dominion soldiers. Also, language like payback as a bitch is pretty bad. Well, I agree. It's nothing new. It's new if you hadn't watched Discovery. And even occasionally in Picard, which I don't like. And it's exactly what Rick and Brian were talking about a week ago or so. If you buy the soundtrack, it's on the back of the booklet. Ah, okay. Excuse me, guys. It's live. The other thing you can't stand, Pedro, is the fact that in modern Star Trek, the ship's shields do nothing. I'm waiting for them to talk about why it's such a big damn deal to have separable modules that then can snap back together like a magnet puzzle or something. This is true. If you want literal wagon train, there's always Firefly. Me and my missus, a fistful of Data's gun smoke. Yeah. You want Star Trek Legacy. Starfleet Academy might be more like the Facts of Life. Well, see, that was the concern back in the day. At least the Facts of Life was a sitcom for 30 minutes. It wasn't an hour-long, drama. But thank you, Positive, for popping up. You have to tell me if maybe you have been with us before. I think you have. I'm just curious now. Have I already talked about the 400 euros or dollars Lego? Not really, because I don't talk about merch here much. Our European portales drag me over into merch things. But yes, it's sold out, and they're rapidly printing. I didn't know they were trying to. I mean, Legos isn't much into collectible sets, right? So the fact that it sold out so quickly, it's a little bit like pocketbooks being too chicken to print very many of classic books. Now that we think about the TNG Tech Manual, My Companion, yeah, they print like 5,000 or 10,000. See how they do? Well, those would like sell out in a day, and they would print the same amount again. That would sell it in a day, and so they start off very, very cautious because they don't want to have to pulp tons of paper. So yeah, in this case, it's plastics and recycling and oil. But yeah, they sold out pretty fast within 2 or 3 days, and so they've come back with another quasi set. We'll see if the original, if everything comes out exactly the way it's supposed to. If Star Trek Discovery was given to you for free back then, you're not sure you'd want it. I know. Wheel of Star Trek. We need a new term for Starfleet Academy. SFA means something way different to you. Well, one thing I hate is that even the scripts, Dorothy Fontana's scripts, all have Starfleet as 2 words. But the one time you saw Starfleet written out on camera, it was in the General Order Number 7 memo from Menagerie, and that you see it when Commodore Stone opens it up. And I hate saying SFA because it makes Starfleet sound like 2 words, and we're always fighting that. Even though you look at all of Dorothy's and other people's scripts, and they always had Starfleet as 2 words, S and capital F. But the one time it was on screen, it was not. So that's what we all go with. So technically Starfleet Academy should be SA, but that could be soprano alto or whatever. I'm just trying to think what Science Fiction America. SFA is a 3-letter, jargon, which rolls off the tongue easier, and it makes it easier to have it in graphics and all that. But it reinforces the idea that F is a second word, capitalized even. I know. When Disco came out, you were happy that we got any Star Trek. Oh, okay. It took 2 or 3 series to change that. What now? The thing is, Larry supporting bad Star Trek is just going to get us more bad Star Trek. I don't support. Oh, the thing is, Larry, supporting bad Star Trek is just going to get us more bad Star Trek. Boycotting it sends a message out that we don't like it. It depends. I'm saying in 2017, if people had hated on Discovery, the new owners and manipulators of Star Trek who don't have a legacy vibe, or the people that do might be so far down the totem pole they don't get listened to. But I'm just saying, that you have to have something to stand on before you can fight. And fighting before they've even built the platform means you're just fighting in midair like Bug Staffy or the Coyote. And you've got to have something to stand on when you have your fight. That's all I'm saying. And sometimes boycotting is you're throwing the baby out with the bathwater. What now? Still take away from us, which is why I agree. Yeah, support Trek even if it's bad. Okay. I'm looking. Sorry, I'm looking at everything else. Rather have some kind of quality than watering down the universe. Well, see, you're still on the a little bit or a lot. What if it's zilch? What if you really remember when the Enterprise went down? The predictions were for 10 to 20 years of no new Trek because it was old and worn out and needed a generation to refresh. You could wind up with 20 years without. And no, I wouldn't be happy, but I would talk about why it was watered down, but I wouldn't demand it go away. Improve this. But you can't trust that a totally mundane suit won't come away with the wrong idea unless you've got really good messaging and you get that across. You short circuit that. Other Trek, not just this Trek. Yes, I can draw the difference between this and other Trek. Too much for Trekkie. So no, I'm not taking the risk of no Trek. What'd you do for the 12 years? Yeah. Oh, by all means, that's your decision. You wouldn't tell anybody else what to do. Yes. Why did I let that go by? But that's what the Warner Brothers and the Warner Sister Sue, that's where that came from. The Warner Brothers actually really the three by the time they got into it. Oh, I was going to say, so I think it was Harry Warner is the Warner brother that pushed to develop. It was kind of like a, what do we call that? The Manhattan Project for COVID vaccines, or it's the Man on the Moon. It was the Moon Race Project. They fast-tracked and spent money they didn't have and came up with a sound system and got it out there and jazz singer. And then they helped lead the revolution, and they instantly increased the value and the size and the respect, the tier their studio was on 100-fold by inventing sound and forcing it on it. And everybody else had to scramble to keep up. They were the innovator. But Harry Warner was ill and died the day before the Jazz Singer premiered. He died the day before. And he was the one that out-argued his brothers and said, no, we need to do this because someone else is going to do it if we don't first. So let's just go. Yeah. Not the last Warner Brothers. We also have Yakko, Wacko, and Dot, the sister. That's very true. Hey, Pedro, you're really hoping Saudi Arabia buys Netflix because by default, everyone will boycott Netflix and then go back to physical media. Perfect. Mwah. Come on, do it, Saudi Arabia. There's this thing called the butterfly effect and unintended consequences. You might. I do not think you know what that means. Hey, Exponent. It's been a while since you've been with us, right? As usual, you give us the macro and micro perspectives. I may not be a regular live viewer, but I catch pretty much every episode afterwards. But when I'm able, live is best. Thank you, man. Thank you so much for that. I'm just, like I said, I'm not going to get into the weeds here on either one, aside from the 30,000-foot view. But at least let's talk about this, and then everybody can go down their own rabbit holes. Let's see. I guess I'm doing something right. I'm getting non-porn, legit spam that's concerned about business and numbers, not sex. The poster is, did you see this already? The poster is something else. While searching for a new name for the studio, an executive passed the Paramount Hotel and liked the name. We're talking about them lying on the ground and grinning. I know. What? Good thing he didn't call it the Hilton. Or, yeah. Ah, Ramada Pictures. Yeah, in the 20s, what would that have been? Didn't the creator of the logo just look out of the window? Kind of. There's a moment in that. There's a series, 100 Years of Warner Brothers, 4 episodes on Apple and Prime, but only in some regions. I don't think I've seen that, but okay. We need a Christmas miracle, and Saudi, we're still on there. Yes, the Saudis are going to be really cognizant of a Christmas miracle. Yeah. Boy. Get people back to physical media. Drive them all away. Uh-huh. What is made in England? Doctor Who, All the Animals, Great and Small Show. Oh, lots of stuff is made in England. Lots of good stuff. I'm talking about motion pictures. I'm talking about major motion pictures. Let's see here. All creatures, great and small. Okay, guys. Oh my God. How do we have this much chat today? Yeah, like in the 90s. Didn't remake it. They just made more of them because there were such a small number. They wanted more to circle. Yeah, but it was a huge drop off. Okay, it was the 80s, further back than I thought. But you can it's night and day because the actors, if they could get them, were all 20 years older in their voices. Yep. WB has the rights to Winchesters and Supernatural. Melinda Snodgrass would like a word with Paramount about Picard. Oh, yes. And a few other people, too. The series is owned by Warner's, but the original films were from MGM. Thank you. Oh, hashtag Gimme Trek. Okay. Thing that's infuriating is Paramount's obsessed with making new Star Trek, but completely not what people want or could have. Well, they're a little bit less obsessed now. Everything now is on the momentum of 3 and 4 years ago. Debbie Reynolds was a massive collector. Yes. And then it was sad when her collection the museum she wanted to open never got to be made. It was just too expensive. Roddenberry. Oh, yeah. Oh, I have where is it? Here, I have the cup. They had a small screening at Vegas a couple years ago. It's been happening. It's a dual documentary about the original fan film from the 70s, and then that George was in, and then they finally got it finished. Let's do that. Boom. Oh no. They finally finished it like in the last 10 years with outside help. But now it's become a meta documentary about everything George Takei has been to Trek and social movements over the years. So it's like about the original fan film and then the finishing of it. And then it's about a whole layer of some social commentary too, and awareness. But yes, I'm glad they're finally getting it out. Yay. No, that's what we have now. But in the old days, you signed a contract with the studio and you basically had to do what they told you to do unless you gradually got enough clout, like Bogart or Judy Garland or whatever. Otherwise, that's why the studio moguls ran everything. They made the decisions. They had think tanks with them, but their word was law. And you didn't go against Jack Warner, or you didn't go up against Louis B. Mayer, whoever was running each individual thing. Star Trek is going away from Netflix. Yes. I know, Pedro, but that's not what they're in the now. No one's thinking. There are people who are thinking that, but they're way down the totem pole. They're going, oh, thank you so much for giving me one more headache and one more way to be ridiculed. Right now, you have the problem that most of the time you're broke. Do you need to pay in order to join the Discord? It's the Roddenberry is you can get on for $1 a month. I'll just say that you can do more, but the minimum you can be in is $1 a month. But then there you go. You have to be in to be able to do our live show, our live every 2 weeks Truckophiles community group. Yeah. Oh yes, Dwight. Yes, they do. It's under mission log though. No, it's not. It's under Roddenberry. Has the big R. They should do it. It's Star Trek story where incredible force sweeps over modern Star Trek and makes it good. We can call it the Pedro Ferreira Force. The PFF. It would save everyone from badness. Well, we're just a font of creativity today. Look at all these ideas. Trek movie on Beam Me Up Sulu. Yeah, that's the story. Oh, you were part of the Nuts campaign. Okay, Bob. Awesome. I think that was what Larry just said, but I might be wrong. I'm totally for the consumer and better politically. Well, everything originally began as radio. Yes, NBC and ABC and CBS were originally the radio networks. This is the Columbia Broadcasting System. Doom, doom, doom. The tones, the little xylophone tones for NBC. That's why I love watching all the like Queen Elizabeth and in the King's Speech when they're in the radio room and they have the dials for every one of the Commonwealth colonies and territories and dominions around the world. Everybody's got their own meter and line. It's Krankenkasse is the health insurance. Okay, wow, am I just now getting back around to that? Hospitals. Okay. One city said 267 euros for transport to hospital, please. Okay. Oh, okay. It's a health insurance provider, private or publicly owned. Okay. Well, that's what we evolved to. Although there's still some places. I think where I am right now, where I moved to, it's still private ambulances. They're professional and they're up to standards, but they're just not government maintained, city maintained. In Burbank and LA, they're all part of the fire department, or they're a separate service. Not good to see too much news. It's bad for you. Makes you obsessive. Yeah. Well, and also, like, what news are they watching? Are they popping around channel to channel, getting a mix, or are they on one? Happy holidays, whatever it is you're celebrating right now. There you go. Back at you, Dwight. We don't have real single-payer healthcare in Germany and Austria. It's a complicated system. Huh. Okay. Interesting. The poster makes you want to watch Friends. Okay. 20, yeah, whatever it was in Indy. Yep. Yes, this is true. The big MGM lot in Culver is Sony Pictures, and Amazon MGM HQ is Culver City Studios, Desilu Culver. That's right. Originally, a host of owners over the years. Yes. I'll let you guys sort out the degrees and the weather reports. And the games. Okay. It was pretty much, Christoph, it was pretty much ridiculed over here. And I think I even heard that the board is going to call him account for having gone off and done that on his own, actually. So we'll see. FIFA and the IOC. I know. It's so pathetic. It's so humiliating and pathetic. But again, the lack of self-awareness is is what is helpful. Uh, hey, Liebchen, I'm glad you could join us and jump in here. There we go. Yes, the younger Ellison actually has a film degree from USC, I think. He also has enough self-awareness that he started off as an actor-director and realized after 2 or 3 goes that he should not be an actor. And he just focused on directing and producing. So there's self-awareness there. That's what's given me a little hope. Now, yes, Scotty would very much say that. Yes, yeah. Oh, I wish Harlan had been part of this Ellison family. Yeah, it might have done some good. More than seatbelts for Academy? Okay. Agreed, exponents. Agreed on all counts. Hey, Chris, that was the teaser poster, like 3, 4, 5, 6 months early. Yep. It's iconic. Again, Lower Decks for their season 5 poster mocked that. You like the fact they named it Athena? It's Athena, right? Okay. Student driver sticker on the back of the starship. I remember an interview where when they announced Academy, somebody on the side asked this, and Alex said, "We're going to explain the technology, the magic tech. We're going to explain all this stuff when we have the time in Academy." I'm like, well, they've had 3 or 4 years to figure it out on the fly since they just jumped in. Starting off with, well, it looks cool is not the reason to base projected, science. Star Trek 5 promo and seatbelts in theater. There you go. Love the moment when Admiral Clancy threw that in Jean-Luc's face. Hope to be at the midday ADT next week. Awesome, Chris. We'd love to see you. Portales. But in all honesty, Star Trek 6 correctly had the Klingons shoot the Enterprise A. And although the shields were raised, the ship got holes in. Well, that was the plot point. That was how it got through. That was the thing. The change in the balance of power with the weapons that was so scary, that they could fire through a shield that was raised. Lego got the decal wrong. They said the Enterprise is boldly going instead of boldly going. Oh, boldly going. Yeah. Boldly going. There you go. And all the eyeballs, young eyeballs in the chain there. All righty. There you go. I wondered about that. And the shuttle is not part of the reissued set, I guess. See, here you go. Here go the European Portales dragging us over into merch again. This is true. That's true. Okay. Okay, Chris. Yes. Lego should lean into it with their third printing and spell it to boldly go. There we go. Well, there's that, but we've never done that with anything else, although people have looked at that for like Lower Decks and things. Sweet F all. Oh, that's okay. Yeah, I think some of the Australian series I think I've watched. I think that pops up. Studio executives not known for nuance. Yeah. Oh. That's true. There you go. Yes. Well, we had the whole thing here with LDS. LDS was, yeah. and LSD and all that. LDS was Latter-day Saints, the Mormons. Okay, well, got that decided. Alrighty then. No, I go against SFA just because I worry about the anyway. I gave up on that. It's like just fine. Spell it with a capital F in the middle as one word or two words. Okay, well, you're welcome. I got you going. Okay. Trek that doesn't capture its own spirit isn't worth the effort or our time. Paramount is split now isn't worth our loyalty. Hi, Desilu Trek. Are you wanting to go retcon backwards? Yeah, but it's a tightrope. It's a tricky thing. You can go bomb, but it's a commercial enterprise. It's not like a political thing. So people canceled their subscriptions to CBS and got Colbert back for a while. Yakko, Wacko, and Dot in charge of Star Trek. Yes. Intentionally funny. What? If I override everyone else to turn the place into a Trumpaganda farm, then we definitely walk. Which way are you thinking I might go there? I try to keep Trek open-ended as much as I can painfully, humanly, possibly keep a lid on that. Because yeah, there's plenty of other places to go one way or the other. Hey Sherry, you're barely getting in here at the end. Yep. This is what I'm saying. Or not even in your face. Subtly would be more insidious. Oh, thank you. I was gonna say what? Always a good thing, unless of course, as John Lewis said, good trouble is something you can get into. Well, don't ever say it couldn't be worse. It can always be worse. Yeah, the Marx Brothers, but the Marx Brothers they weren't studio owners, but yes. Yes, we have more time for that, but that's what Portal is. See, it's a deeper dive. It's more of everything. You're paying for it, right? Absolutely. This seems like it goes on sometimes. Maybe tonight everybody got the notification for the original Tuesday date, or maybe we should stick to Thursday night. Might be the pre-Xmas slowdown of other things, though. We're not leaving Tuesday's date, Christoph. No, that's staying there. Thursday is record sessions of Trek Files. Yeah. Oh, changed your handle. Formerly you were Joey, but it was too on the nose for the internet. Okay, but thank you. I don't want to say I don't remember you as Joey either, but that's cool. I'm glad you trained. But thank you for sharing firsthand, front row feels from what Hollywood's like right now, between the strikes and the unions and the work and the studio chaos and all of that, the tax incentives. Yeah, it started. Might have even been earlier than 85. Oh, is it out? Tranquility Press is the Wolf 359. I haven't seen it yet. Is it out somehow, some way? Oh my gosh, are we just circling around to this? Yay, okay. Good deal. Thank you. King's speech was awesome. I'd hear the Beethoven and Ludwig, and I go, it always makes me think of the King's speech. Dum, da, da, dum, 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 dum. Dum, 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 dum. For the last 10 weeks, did I move house? We moved house almost 2 years ago. So I've been here since March, maybe April. I may have taken a month off. March 2024. So it'll be 2 years next March. But there you go. It's time passes. See? Not watching news from different sites, just the BBC and Sky News, which are very leftist. Oh, I see. You know what Colbert said one time? Truth has a decidedly liberal bias. What's under my Christmas decoration there? A T-shirt. That's the bag. Oh, it shows. The white, that is a bag with Christmas gifts in it. I didn't think it was. Yeah, Sky News is owned by Murdoch. Americans have no clue what we're talking about, but yes. Thank you, Christoph. The Mission Log Roddenberry Patreon is not properly linked to the Roddenberry homepage. There's the link. Thank you for doing that. Harlan Ellison was a big friend of the original TMNT cartoon. Okay. David Wise, who co-wrote How Sharper Than a Serpent's Tooth, right? Hey, it's Jesse. Look at this. Everybody coming in. Man, we've got shifts here. Wish you could afford the minifigures of Bev and Wes. Can't afford $400 for the whole set. Well, there you go. Okay. SFA is San Francisco. No, I thought it was SFO. Yeah. Yes, it is SFO. That's one thing that you don't have to confuse. SFA sounds like a star. See, somewhere between science fiction and Starfleet, SF will always be. And yes, we have aspirin, we have Mictolubin. You love collecting, but oof, that's a car payment. Yeah. I need sleep. Is it that bad? Yeah, I figured that out real fast. Thank goodness. It's the end of the chat as we know it. Thank you. Well, that's what I try within reason until lives are in danger. That's what we got to do. Yes. No. It's Tuesday. Don't worry. I always have to bump when we've got travel going on, though. Yes, or have none at all. I'm kind of shocked that we have as many here. Tempus Fugit. No, that's Santa here getting started. Okay, Robert, you're going to go straight on me. Yes, I'm talking about. It's just that in our current situation over here, the Overton window has been dragged to the right so much. That's what it is. Okay, guys, I got to get out of here. Thank you, Christoph. Always good advice. Thanks for that. Yep. Well, thank you, applauding the chat folk. Yeah, we try to keep it open, but safe and sane here. What are we going to talk about after Academy ends? Why, season 4 of Strange New, of course. This is what I was just saying, Christoph. The Overton window has been dragged to the right. Google that. Don't get grumpy, Santa. Sing a song for us, or gift us with a Will Rogers quote. Oh my goodness. Will said once, "It's great to be great, but it's greater to be human." Oh, how Roddenberry-esque does that sound, huh? The human adventure is just beginning. Okay, gang, that is the end of the chat, unless my thing is going to hiccup a whole lot. So I just want to say it is a Thursday. And if you haven't checked out the Trek Files this week yet, there you go. We've got a great one with Rick Stornbach talking about the development of Voyager. We're still celebrating the 30th anniversary of Voyager's premiere. All you tech heads, all you techno files, all you technophiles, spelled with an F, want to get out and hear Trek Files this week. Next week's is going to be very topical and awesome. I'm just going to prime the pump for that. And the Patreon, again, is $1 to get into the Mission Log Roddenberry Patreon, which then gets you access to the Discord of all the Roddenberry shows, all the fan communities, the message boards, and also the live shows attached to each one, including now the Trek Files finally has its own live little community every other Monday at 4. Next Monday is the Monday off, so it'll be the Monday after that. $1 a month, and you can get access to the hands of the camera and everything for an hour, although it's usually 2 on Monday. But yes, Trek Files every Tuesday, wherever fine pods are downloaded, especially at thetrekfiles.com, where you can scroll the entire 13-season catalog. We're now halfway through 14. Gulp. Hope you enjoy that. Of course, it's on Memory Alpha, where you can do the hot links. You can see the documents. You can play the plays right there. My Patreon is just $5 and $10. I love it. I really appreciate the support. You, maybe, these folks for sure bring to just helping us being able to do everything that we do. Gradually pay the fees on some of the restream and all of that, just to starters. Trekland Treks, if you're coming to LA and you're going to have a spare day, get with me. We'll work out a customized, unique away mission for you. There's over 50 places in Greater SoCal that were used as locations for all the older Star Treks and Picard, since it was shot in Santa Clarita. Some places I have never been to. So if we want to go there, it'll give me an excuse to go scope it out. But there's plenty of old favorites too, as you saw from our my socials yesterday. That's my day tours. Next year is the big tour, multi-day, 6-day, first time in 10 years with Geek Nation Tours, Terrace and me. Limit of 20 people, minimum of 11, maximum of 20 the week before Vegas. Check that at geeknationstours.com. Otherwise, gang, I think that's going to do it. I may get some holiday gift offers up at my site for Portal and for Treks, but that's coming right now. Appreciate everybody checking things out over Open House and then over Cyber Monday too as well. Appreciate all y'all. It's going to get thick out there for whatever holidays you're celebrating or trying to avoid. It's a thing out there. So everybody, please, please, please. Watch yourselves, right? Stay healthy, do all the things, stay awoke, check the sources, and Trek well, everybody.